call to order. Town of Florence Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is May 5th, and the time is 6 p.m. Mr. Olgin, will you take the roll call, please?
Yes, sir, I will. Chairman Pranza.
Present.
Vice Chair Patrick.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Want to say amen. Next item, discussion, approval, disapproval of the minutes of the regular meeting conducted on April 21st, 2016.
I didn't find anything.
No comments?
No comment.
May I have a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the
April 26th.
April
21st, rather.
21st Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Vice Chair, second by Commissioner Bell. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Minutes are approved.
Thank you.
We'll move down to the lower level and conduct a work session for Planning and Zoning Commissioner duties and responsibilities. Let's go have some fun.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, good evening. So we'll conduct the Planning and Zoning Commissioner Duty and Responsibilities work session. In your packet, you should have received some information on three separate existing ordinances, Town of Gilbert, Chandler, City of Chandler, and Gila County. Now, I also, in front of you, should have a copy of the current Planning and Zoning Commission powers and duties. I took that from the town code this afternoon. And as you're aware, until recently, it has become necessary to have some more explanation as to the duties of the commission. As I was looking through different examples that were out there, the three that you have now seem to stick out the most to me, and they're all quite different. The one that staff favors is the one from the Town of Gilbert. It's real specific as to the terms, the membership, responsibilities, like, for example, required meetings. It also gets into under powers and duties, what exactly you're recommended to do as far as general plans, pre-plats. They even cover use permits, and I liked it a lot just because it really it just basically lays out exactly what you need to know and what you need to make recommendations for, and it spells exactly what needs to be approved and disapproved. They even go further. It's not in the information you have here, but they also have a list of suggested responsibilities, like the appropriate way to dress, interaction with staff, courteous to the applicant, information like that really isn't part of the ordinance, but it's something that just gives direction. Gila County also is a good ordinance that covers Planning and Zoning Commission. It's a little less, it's more to the point. It's specific, it's short, it's on one page. And it just gets right to kind of the nuts and bolts of what's required of the commissioners. And then you got the City of Chandler, and the City of Chandler also does a great job, but it reads more, it's a little, in my personal opinion, it's just a little more complicated, kind of not as detailed, I would say, as the Town of Gilbert, but it's also an excellent ordinance. And I also put in some Arizona revised statute information in the back, just as some direction. But this is an open discussion, so if you'd like to make comments or ask questions, we're all here to answer the questions you may have. I also took a stab at writing up an ordinance for the town that would eventually have to go in front of the commission for a recommendation and then be approved by council. It's kind of I kind of went overboard, but I did that on purpose to kind of make sure I cover as much as I could. This has not been looked at by the attorneys, and it will be once we get to a final draft. But I used the 3 examples that we have in front of us, kind of pulled from that. I even went as far as to call out the responsibilities or duties of the chair and the vice chair. That way there's no confusion. Once again, you're more than welcome to cross any of it out or add to it if you'd like. But I just wanted to have something in place that we could share with the commission and see if we're on the right path, if we're too strict, or maybe we need to be more lenient and vague. Do I have any questions from the commission?
I don't have any questions. Go ahead.
Things I want
Press the button on the microphone, sir.
to... Not working?
There you go.
Oh, I see. I thought red meant go. We talked about the open paragraph, so there's no reason to discuss that any further. In the draft, there's confusion on my part. This is not my discipline. So there's confusion on my part as to the director and his staff versus what the commission actually does. I'll just read some of it and see what kind of feedback I get from you. But starting on paragraph K, or line K of the draft, it says, to make its special knowledge and expertise available upon reasonable written request and authorization of the town council. We do not possess special knowledge. To me, that sounds like the director and his staff. To go on to confer with and advise other similar town, city, or county commissions, way out of our league. To make investigations, maps, reports, and recommendations to the town council. To me, that's not in our ballpark. And down, all the way down at R, the chairman shall carry out other such duties as determined by the town council and present other recommendations to the council, recommendations the town council deems pertinent. I didn't understand that one at all. So, do you see where I'm coming from? The technical aspect of an applicant coming into staff and wanting to do something, and staff's expertise in the ordinances and understanding what's supposed to happen, that all takes place under your roof. And when you've got the whole package together, it comes to a third-party, unbiased group of volunteer citizens who are willing to sit down and review the ordinances and make a recommendation. And that really is us. So there needs to be, in the language, some wall, something between us.
So, Chair, what I would appreciate, if you'd like to do so, is cross out the areas that you don't feel are necessary, because staff will be honest that some of the language was borrowed from existing ordinances. That's language.
No, I recognize it from...
And it's kind of an eye-opener to see the responsibilities that are put on and duties that are put on commissions in other jurisdictions because they're pretty intense. And if anything you're comfortable with or not comfortable with, I completely understand. This was just took several ideas, put them together, and see what would
Right.
stick. Because I know that what we have now is, and you all have a copy of it, it's just not, it doesn't give enough explanation.
No, we talked about this earlier. This is...
Matter of fact, the Historic Advisory Commission has almost, I'd say, several pages of detailed information on what to do, how to do it, and what powers they have. This is vague. So anything we can come above this is an improvement. So don't worry, staff will be fine. Any comments you make or anything you want to cross out,
All right.
we're okay with. So just make it on your copy there and give it back to staff when you're ready.
Now, the other thing that bothered me, because I did read Gilbert, I read the county of Gila County, and I read Chandler that you gave us. And you're right, their Planning and Zoning Commission is charged with a lot of responsibility. And I don't want to think that those towns in that county are more sophisticated than us. But if that really and truly is the responsibilities that the council intends for this commission to carry out, then the commissioners need a lot more education than what we already have. Speaking for myself, I'm
Chair,
not up to these things.
Vice Chair Commission, with all due respect, the ordinance that I gave you to review that's closest to what the town of Florence has, I would say would be Gila County.
Yes.
Due to the size of the commission that they have, that's the one I think that was closest to us. Now, there's nothing wrong with, saying that maybe we need to add more responsibilities, but once again, we're just trying to kind of get a feel for where we're at, how the three of you feel. If you're all, maybe you're all on the same page, maybe you're not. So, any comments like yours, Chair, are well received. We have any other comments from?
Yeah, I like your draft. I too had a problem with K. My problem with K was it's nebulous. It needs to be a little more specific because there are a lot of areas that we don't have specific knowledge in, but there are some areas that we do, and some areas that we may be able to offer. But I think that's under the guise of being the commission and working with staff. So I don't know how you want to write that, but I think in the course of if there's something that requires us to look at something, it has to be presented by staff to us, because
Yes.
we aren't going to go out and research something, but staff has to present it, and it has to be presented at a commission meeting, and then we can decide whether we can handle it or not. I think that would be the way to handle it.
And
But I like your draft better than Chandler's is too big, Gila's is too simple, Gilbert's is too big. I think it's specific enough.
do you like the addition of chair, vice chair?
Oh, yeah.
So you'd keep that?
Yeah, and state law, if you look at the ARS, under the duties of town council, you'll see that they specifically address the mayor,
Yes.
vice mayor, as specific roles in terms of controlling a meeting.
Correct.
And so there's nothing wrong, in fact, it's a help to put that sort of thing into the responsibilities. Somebody has to run the meeting.
Yeah, and that was the sole purpose of adding that, was to make sure that when you become a member of the commission, this one in particular, that you understand if you decide to run for the chair or vice chair, there's going to be extra duties that are going to be required of you.
Right.
You're going to be asked to read the agendas, introduce the cases as you do now, and as you do when the chair's not here. So I want people to know, hey, you signed up for this, so understand what you're getting yourself into. That way they're not so surprised. And I've had that happen with my Historic Advisory Commission as well, where they weren't aware that they were the backup when the chair was gone.
Right.
And that's our fault for not having that in the code.
Now, there's one more area that is not covered, but probably should be covered.
Okay.
Or maybe it shouldn't. It depends on how you look at it. This is a volunteer group. Now, currently, people volunteering for the commission fill out an application that asks for job history and it asks for education level, neither of which are required to be a commissioner. Now, if they are requirements, if there is a minimum education requirement, if there is some kind of a job history required, then it should be put into this. If it's not in this, then it shouldn't be in the application. When I view the application that the town is using currently, to get that kind of information out of me, you need to be offering me a salary. Otherwise, you don't need it.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, if I may, I believe the portion you're speaking about is not, that would be under the town clerk's decision to make that amendment to the code. That's not covered under what we're doing tonight. So I do understand. I'll convey the message to the town clerk and the deputy. And I agree, but I do know that for each commission, they would like a nice variety of experience and talents to form your commissions. We don't always have that luxury here in the town of Florence because we're limited on who we can get, but I know with other towns and cities, that's what they're after. So it does seem a little bit too personal to ask all that information when you're volunteering.
Right.
So I will convey the message to the town clerk. Any more questions or concerns or comments?
Yeah, number N.
In.
It says to make investigations and maps and reports. And what are we talking about there? What kind of investigations are
So,
about it? I can understand that if
for example,
we have a parcel that's coming in front of us, I try to drive by it and look at it before I come here, where I know when I see the picture, I know what I'm looking at. But I don't understand what you mean by investigations. How far do you have to go or whatever by saying that?
Commissioner, for example, we just recently had a case, the infill incentive plan. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary to say, you know what, I want to see what this looks like. You could ask staff that you want to go on a site trip, which would be like an investigation, to actually walk the property with the owner's permission to see what it's about. That's common in some places. We obviously have to post for a quorum. If we did this, and this was recommended several years ago by commission members, that they wanted to go to sites, and it's actually done in other cities where they get together and they investigate, if you will. Maps. It's not uncommon for the commission members to ask for maps. We give them to you for the presentation, but to ask for maps showing the areas that we're talking about, or how those areas are connected. When it comes to where was it end? When it comes to the reports, obviously the report, you could ask for an update on something that's relevant to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it'd be up to staff to write you the report explaining what happened, or at least give it to you verbally.
Right. I understand that staff works with us and
Yeah.
anything we need.
But that's what that
all we
means.
have to do is ask for it. But what I'm reading into this is we have to make the report out ourselves.
No.
And I don't think, I personally am not qualified to start
Yeah.
making out reports on your job.
Yeah, no, that's not what that. Our job is to assist you as liaisons to help you convey your message to council, and we could change it if that bothers you the way it's written there. But that's all that means, is that you use us to help you convey your message to council.
Tweet.
But that's a good point. I mean, I understand you're a volunteer, and now you're asking to write up a detailed document. Yeah, no. Good point. Do we have any others?
I think
Did the town council ask for this to be done?
There was I would say that the director had, the director and commission members were the ones that initially started this. We went to a boards and commissions meeting about a year ago? About a year ago.
Yeah, somewhere back there.
And at the meeting, there were several members from the Historic District Advisory Commission and a couple of P&Z members. And they had I think it was Pima County's
It was.
piece, yeah. And that triggered this.
The council, no, we didn't request this, no.
It was from the commissioners and from the director that initially started this request. And we just realized, and there was also an experience in the past with with one of the planning commissioners that caused staff to look at what we have to explain their jobs, and we had a very weak explanation. So that's where this came from. So the council member's correct that it wasn't from council, but it was through
What I was kind of
commissioners.
getting at was, did they have any, if we write, say we write up and submit it to them.
I can't hear you, sir.
We write something up or whatever, and it has to go in front of the council for approval.
The final draft will go in front of council.
So shouldn't we get their recommendations to start with of what they want on it? Where we don't just pass it back and forth 5 or 6 times?
Typically, the way we work with an amendment is we will continue to have our conversations. Staff will continue to make changes to a draft, and then when we feel that it's ready, we'll bring it to the commission for approval. For a recommendation. It'll go to council. Council likes it, they approve it. If they don't like it and they feel we missed several things, they'll ask staff to take it back to this level again and start over or add to it. And that's what will happen is it'll get sent back to us. Because we had this happen with a couple other text amendments where we had to try a couple times. We missed things that we just didn't see. But no, we're going to work amongst the commissioners to come up with something that's we all agree upon, and then we're going to give it to you for the recommendation, and then it goes to council. So council will have the final say. Typically, that's how
we agree on, the council may not agree on.
We have a council member here that represents the council, but they're also welcome to come to the meetings when we're discussing this. But typically, that's how it's been done, but it doesn't mean it can't change.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. Thank you.
It would be incredibly interesting, though, when the Planning and Zoning Commission was formed by the council. I doubt it was 1866, but somewhere along the line, the town got sophisticated enough. We had McFarland here. There's a lot of history here.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives the impression that there was sophisticated people on the council. It would be interesting to see what they called out as the duties and responsibilities of the commission. That's probably before they had staff, planning and zoning staff.
Correct.
So it would be fun to see it, but I doubt the town clerk could dig that far back.
Well, yeah. That would just be for historical value anyway.
Yeah,
It wouldn't,
yeah.
Yeah, because all of your state statutes have changed and everything. It's a different time.
Yeah, no, it would be a Chinese fire drill, but it'd just be interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any more comments from the chair, vice chair, commissioner,
For me.
No,
council member?
I'm happy with it if you do that rewrite on.
We'll make some more changes to this document. We'll get it out to the three of you. I should say to the four of you for more comments. And I'm hoping that we can get something together to bring in a final document within the next couple of months
Nice.
and get this adopted by council.
It would be great, because new members, we could give them something and say, here's what your duties and responsibilities are.
Yeah. Very good. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
And commissioners will move back up and move on. Oh.
Yeah, you can leave it here. Thank you.
They ought to put the name on this side so I can make sure I'm in the right seat.
We're set, right? Or put them on both sides.
There you go.
Well, we could write it on the back side of this one.
Yeah. They do it for town council. Okay. New business. Presentation for approval or disapproval of the preliminary plat applications for Anthem at Merrill Ranch Unit 31, PZ 1630 PP, and Unit 33, PZ 1631 PP, submitted by Southwest Value Partners. Subject plats are located west of Hunt Highway and south of Merrill Ranch Parkway.
Hello, my name is Will Randolph, Town Planner here with the Community Development Department. I will give you a brief presentation here, and the applicant is also here to answer any questions after. This, of course, is for Anthem at Merrill Ranch Units 31 and 33. Our last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on the 21st of April brought to you for approval 9 pre-plats in this region, and staff has chosen to present these 2 units, 31 and 33, to you today for some further evaluation. Staff noticed there were some just minor changes in these pre-plats when compared to the original pre-plats that were approved in prior years, such as AMR unit was approved and brought forth to the Planning and Zoning Commission on March 20th, 2008. And 33, we had some difficulty in locating where that pre-plat was, so this is why we're also bringing this AMR Unit 33 to you today. This, of course, follows the AMR PUD books that were provided to you in our last meeting in terms of the actual PUD, what type of densities are allowed in the Anthem Merrill Ranch development, and this exhibit, this exhibit in front of you shows where these pre-plats are, just west of Hunt Highway, of course, south of the pre-plats from the previous Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I'll narrow it down here for you. So here is Unit 31, here is Unit 33, and here's the Johnson Utilities wastewater facility. And of course, these stars show points of access and ingress and egress. Here's the 2 points into 31 from Unit 33, and then Unit 33 has access from Hunt Highway, and then I believe that's 35A to the north. So Anthem Merrill Ranch Unit 33, I'll go through these real quick. This pre-plat is shown to include 113 single-family residential lots, the 2 points of access, which is shown in this exhibit. The original plat was approved in 2008. The densities brought forth to you would be 5.1 dwelling units per acre with a typical lot size of 6,226 square feet. Then AMR Unit 33 is proposed to have 161 single-family lots with 4 points of ingress and egress with a density of 4.1 dwelling units per acre and a typical lot size of 5,352 square feet. All the street layouts have stayed the same per the review of the former town engineer, and there's been no changes in street width or design, which are supposed to be 40 feet of right-of-way. And each of these 2 units also exceed the 15% open space requirements. And here's some exhibits of preliminary plat 31 of the lot layouts, and those were included in your P&Z packets. And here's 33, and here's the Johnson Utilities facility. So staff found that these proposed preliminary plats were in conformance within the AMR PUD, and we provided recommendations in our staff report for ultimately your review, and that concludes my presentation on these, and the applicant is also here to answer any questions you may have.
For the applicant, please state your name and address for the record.
Jared Baxter with the Baxter Design Group. I'm the engineer on the project and represent Southwest Value Partners.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes, sir.
simple question.
Yes, sir.
The staff recommendations are the same as the ones we've had, and I assume you've had the opportunity to see them?
I have reviewed them and reviewed them with staff and find them acceptable.
That's all I need to know.
Okay.
I have just one quick question. I think Commissioner Bell asked at the last commission meeting about what kind of fencing, et cetera, around the Johnson water treatment plant, and I think something was said about a berm.
Vice Chair, yes, if you're familiar with the site or if you've been out there by the site, the wastewater treatment plant is surrounded by a vertical berm, approximately 15 to 20 feet tall above where these lots would sit. The backs of these lots still have their typical walls on it. As it's developed, Johnson Utilities will need to more securely, secure their site. It's higher than just a standard 6-foot wall. Probably needs to be either an 8-foot wall or an additional fence. We want to leave that open to Johnson Utilities to work with the builder of that area and try to accommodate that probably in the yard itself. But there's no visual pathway to the treatment plant at all for any of these lots that are built around that site.
Okay, and the wall goes inside of the berm?
No, the walls itself of the lots are outside the berm. Right now, Johnson does not have a fence in place. They have the berms in place, but as soon as residents develop around it, they'll be required to have a fence in place to secure the site even more than what the berm's in place right now.
I drive by it a lot. After a while it kind of disappears.
Yeah, it does.
So,
the berming of the site was generally the site-specific cover, per se, for the site itself. They have multiple units that have odor control issues solved on the site. Very rarely have I've been developing out there since 2004, 2005 when the plant started. I've never really had an odor issue complaint with respect to the treatment plant itself. So, it's a modern day plant that was established out there for its development.
Mr. Baxter, did I hear you say that the fence is on Johnson's dime?
No, the fence, each one of the houses will have a fence in it. Now, Johnson may have an opportunity to come to that builder and have that fence be higher. A 6-foot fence is not high enough to secure the site. So they could come in and add to that back of that house another 2 foot of block, then it is secure at that point in time.
Do you have a relationship with Johnson Utilities?
Working relationship, yes, sir.
How is it?
Great.
Good. Good.
I'm good.
All right, then I'll move that we approve preliminary plat applications for Anthem at Merrill Ranch Unit 31, PZ 1630 PP, and Unit 33, PZ 1631 PP. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Chairman Pranzo, seconded by Vice Chair Petrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Call to the public. Call to the public for public comment on issues within the jurisdiction of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Individual commission members may respond to criticisms made, may ask staff to review a matter raised, or may ask that the matter be put on a future agenda, as staff may make comments if it is on the agenda. However, members of the commission shall not discuss or take action on any matter during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. No public comment. Call to the commission, current events only.
I don't have anything.
Sir?
I have a couple of things. I was questioning the, and this is, you don't have to give me an answer now, but Gila River Bridge repair. Are we talking to ADOT about doing something over there? It's not been that long since they did the other repair. Seems to me it ought to be under warranty. Just a comment, but so if you could comment at the next meeting, if there's anything going on. And then I had a question about Hunt Highway at the curve there. We're just talking about the units. There's a block of county land there. Has the town ever talked to the county about maybe doing a little land swap so that it seems kind of silly to have a piece of the county in the middle of that? You can answer that later sometime. And then thirdly, I would like to have a little presentation from the new Public Works Director, get a chance to meet him and just kind of get an update on what's going on around town. And that's all I have.
Carl?
I have none.
Okay, then. Close call to commission. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Chairman Bell, seconded by Vice Chair Patrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned.